Welcome to the continuation of our lessons. This time we're going to look at composition, to be specific, speech. This is my favorite type of composition. To be specific, my favorite type of situational composition. That is paper 1, section B type of question. If you haven't already ordered and you're doing mathematics, don't forget to order this pamphlet, exam data, and also this one for English, which is English composition exam data notes, or at 45 kwacha. Okay, so what is speech all about? So a speech is a formal talk prepared to address the audience. The audience are the people who are sitting or standing waiting for you to speak. Okay, so a speech is just a formal talk prepared to address the audience. Okay, because it is formal, hence you have to do your best to make it polite. Okay. So formal speeches are prepared on special occasions. Okay. So what events are you expected to prepare a speech? Okay. Any formal occasion or social gathering needs a speech. Okay. Social gathering is any type of event where people gather. Okay. So it can be a wedding, it can be a prize giving ceremony, it can be just a meeting. Okay. It can be maybe at the workplace you're supposed to do, you are meeting with a different company and you're supposed to say something about something, so you would need to prepare a speech. Okay, so what is the aim of the speech? Okay, we know the aim of a report is to inform. Okay, the aim of an argumentative composition is to persuade. Okay, the aim of a descriptive composition is to paint a picture. Okay, and the aim of a narrative composition is to tell a story. What about speech? What is the aim of a speech? So the aim is to inform. Okay, to give information. Okay, so the aim of a speech or of the speech is to give information. Whatever speech you are doing, you have to give information. Okay, the other aim is to entertain. Okay, of course it might change, it might depend on the occasion, but normally when you're doing a speech, it's always a good thing to make people laugh. Okay, not like it's a comedy show, but just as you are going on with a formal presentation, at some point you can crack a joke. Okay, so do your best to entertain. Okay, because when you're not entertaining, people may start dozing. Okay, you also have to persuade. As you are giving information, you have to persuade. Okay, you have to persuade, to convince people to take what you are saying as something that is correct. Okay, so the aim of the speech is to inform, to entertain, and to persuade. Okay, for example, business gathering. Okay, so it's a business. Okay, so it's all about persuading the other people to go with what you are saying. Okay, wedding ceremony, of course, as you are informing, people have to be entertained. Okay, a school meeting. Okay, yes, you can entertain, you can persuade, but the main point is to give information. So here, one thing you can learn is the type of speech that you are going to prepare. You have to be considerate of the type of audience you are having, the type of people that are going to listen to your speech. If you're going to give a speech at maybe a primary school that has youngsters, you don't have to, to have a speech that has bombastic words. No, because no one is going to get what you are saying. So you have to be considerate of the audience. Okay, you can't put dirty jokes. Okay, dirty jokes when you are presenting to children. Okay, so you need to be considerate of the audience you are going to to speak to the president. Maybe the president of Zambia has visited your school and you are supposed to do a speech. Be considerate of the political atmosphere. So all that has to be considered when writing a speech. Of course, in an exam, you might not be sure of the type of audience, so this might not be that important, but in real life, you have to keep that in mind. Okay, so here are some key points that are very important or that makes speech different from the rest, from the other types of compositions. So the first is, as you're writing the speech, or before you write the speech, you have to consider the situation, okay? Whether it is, a sad gathering, like I'm from saying, business meeting, or social or cheerful gathering. On a sad gathering, you're not expected to crack jokes, okay? On a business meeting, again, cracking jokes, you need to be very careful. You have to use formal language. On a social gathering, you can, like the example that I gave, a wedding, you can crack as many jokes as you can, okay? That's one thing about the speech. Okay, this in real life is very workable, but in an exam, anyway, you can read the situation because most of the questions in an exam have too formal. Okay, but jokes, if it's not a sad gathering, I've never seen a question about a funeral, but of course I've seen a question about maybe the president visiting your school and the likes. So yes, be formal and you can crack jokes here and there, but they should be serious. And of course, if it's the president of the country, you have to think of the political atmosphere. Okay, you can't crack a joke that can bring about a debate. So you have to be that considerate. Okay. Okay. So what other thing I was supposed to consider? So the first thing is the title. So you write the heading or title in capital letters and underline it on top of your work. Okay. An example is this: a speech prepared by Catherine Chiaba to be delivered on a school assembly on 10th June 2024. So this is how a title should be phrased. Okay, so it can vary here and there, but this is the standard. And of course, you can get this and use it the way it is. You just have to change. You put your name. You put on the where there's school assembly. You put the gathering or whatever the gathering where you're expected to deliver the speech, and of course the date. Okay, but this is the layout. Okay, of course it can vary and there, and for more examples you're going to find them in the pamphlet, exam data English composition, the one that I advertised at the beginning of the lesson. Okay, so after the title, the next is the salutation, where you greet everyone present. You can say, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, good afternoon. Okay. So after the salutation, you start your introduction. Okay. So this is an interesting part, the part that I enjoy the most when doing a speech. Okay. So an introduction, you have to acknowledge all the people who are on the event in order of seniority. In case you cannot acknowledge everyone, you can use these words: all protocols observed. Okay. So what it means to acknowledge all the people in order of seniority means you acknowledge that they are there, starting from the one that holds the highest position. Okay, for example, if it's a school gathering, maybe it's an assembly, the biggest boss is the headmaster. So you can say the headmaster, the deputy head, the HOD. Okay, you're going down. The prefects, my fellow pupils. Then after that, it's difficult. Sometimes you can't remember. Maybe there are cleaners who are there. They also want to be acknowledged. So in case when you have mentioned the ones that you can recall, then you can say all protocols observed, which simply means even those which you have not mentioned, you have recognized that they are there. Okay. Sometimes if you're too fast, you can just start the headmaster, all protocol observed. the headmaster or protocols observed. Okay, it means the headmaster and everyone else. Sometimes if you are too fast or in an exam, you have got a lot of things to write in your introduction. So don't want to waste time writing about acknowledging these people who are present. So you can just say all protocols observed. Okay, it means the headmaster and everyone else, you have acknowledged that they are there. Okay, they are respected, that you have acknowledged their presence. So you can just say all protocols observed, then you go to the next step. Okay, so once you acknowledge everyone present, you can again in the introduction infuse your the what you're going to talk about, to give people an idea of what you're going to talk about. So you can talk about what you're going to tell them. Okay, you can talk about what you're going to tell them. Remember what we learned in most compositions. In introduction, you tell them what you want to tell them. Main body, you tell them, and in conclusion, you tell them what you have told them. So after acknowledging the presence of everyone, you can now tell them what you want to tell them. Okay, or to give them an idea of what the speech is all about. So this is where now you need to get craft to get good marks. Okay, the reason why I love speech, because it is the first type of composition that made me know how to write composition, and that made me to start passing English. Okay, so that's why I loved it. Okay, and the way I used to confuse my teacher was just on the introduction. I could write a very catchy introduction, then in the main body I just write the points that have been given, no creativity at all, and I could get good marks. Okay, so that's what the introduction should be. Okay, you can then introduce, like I've said, the main reason for the speech. Okay, so maybe we'll take a look at examples. So here's the first introduction. Before I can go any further, I would like to acknowledge the presence of the highly listed academicians as my priority to the chairperson, the vice chairperson, the secretary, all protocols observed. I'm profoundly humbled and extremely honored to be given this opportunity to address ways of reducing pollution in our country. So this is a very good introduction. Okay, as you can see, first you have acknowledged everyone present. Then again, you have introduced what your speech is all about. Okay, which is ways of reducing pollution in our country. Okay, people know that what's coming is about ways of reducing pollution in our country. Okay, another example. First and foremost, I would like to acknowledge the presence of the President, the Minister, and all the lovely audience seated before me. All protocols observed. Fighting pollution in ways we can't know is like an ant trying to kill an elephant. Let me share better ways we can deal with this problem. This was supposed to be this. Okay, so again, first and foremost, I would like to acknowledge the presence of the President, the Minister, and all the lovely audience seated before me. All protocols observed. Okay, then after that, you now give people an idea of what your speech is all about, which is better ways to deal with the problem of pollution. And here there's something that, some creativity that makes people, entertained. Fighting pollution in ways we currently know is like an ant trying to kill an elephant. This composition, this introduction was written by a friend. Okay, we wrote, we were just exceptional in class that day. I and a friend, I wrote mine, my friend wrote his, and the teacher had to read this introduction because they were good. So this was from my friend. Okay, this is not mine. This, okay, it's mine. I've just created it to teach you, but it's not the one that I wrote. If you want to see more examples, more introductions that you can also steal and use in your writing, get the pamphlet. Okay, we continue. So in the main body, okay, so in the main body is where now you write you write all the points given, connect them in a logical and chronological manner. Okay, so now in an exam you'll be given points. So those points now you write them in the main body. Okay, this is not anyway, I never used to get entertained because I could just get, the points. I connect them because that's where the actual work is. In the introduction, your job is to confuse the examiner, okay, to make them entertained so that they think you are good. Okay, then in the main body you just put the points. You already have won their hearts. Okay, so that's what happens in the main body. Then in the conclusion, of course, this is where you conclude or summarize your points, as in all types of compositions. After conclusion, you have to thank everyone with the words thank you. Okay, you can say thank you for giving me your time, thank you for lending me your ears, or just thank you. Okay, let's take a look at an example. So here is the question. A government agency in charge of pollution regulation are visiting your school the following week. You are the president of the Environmental Conversation Club. You and your members have raised the following points on how to reduce pollution. Okay, so there are these points here. Write between 250 to 350 words, speech to be delivered at the meeting with the government agency. Okay, this is how it comes. Okay, so you have to start your speech. So let's look at a model answer. So a speech to be delivered by Cecilia Mutolo on a meeting with the Zambia Pollution Regulation Agency, ZPRA, on 12th December 2024. Of course, we're not told that this is the name of the same organization, so I made it up. You can also do that. Okay. So we start with the salutation. Good evening, all. Then we go to the introduction. Okay. So you have to cut your points. If they haven't given you too many points, meaning that you're supposed to write between 250 to 350 words. So your points cannot match 250 to 350 words. Make sure that you enjoy the introduction. You write as much as you can, okay, and your conclusion, okay. So that's how it is. But if you've been given too many points, if you waste too many words on introduction, you're going to suffer in an effort to write those points, because if you leave out some points, it can be disastrous for you. Okay, so let's start with the salutation. The managing director, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. A few years ago, anyone voicing any concern about the extent of pollution was looked upon as a harmless sort of crank to be humored at best and denounced as an alarmist at worst. Today, we can all agree about the need to solve this pollution problem once and for all. So, lucky you, this is the one that I wrote in grade 11. Okay, that made me become good at English. Okay, it inspired me to enjoy English anyway. Okay, so now we continue. Firstly, there is need to start environmental awareness campaigns on the national broadcast. Additionally, we can use social media to educate people on pollution reduction. Okay, so this is the main body starting from here. Okay, so I'm just now connecting points with words like firstly, additionally, just like that. Okay, nothing creative here. There is also an urgent need to set up garbage bins in all the corners of the town so as to make sure that the absence of the bins is supposed to be not here, is not used as a scapegoat by the members of our community. A scapegoat is something you use as an excuse. Okay, so we continue. The government also needs to supposed to be needs here, type in error. The government also needs to set up laws and regulations that punish anyone who burns plastics. These laws should be extended to companies that dispose waste in water. As the Bembas say, imiti kula empanga, to mean that small trees that are growing will turn into forests. We need to extend the awareness into schools by introducing clubs that discuss pollution. So this was me trying to be creative. Okay, the point was not talking about the Bembas saying. Okay, to save ourselves is supposed to be one word here, typing. To save ourselves and the children of our children, we need to reduce pollution at all costs, and the above shared points will definitely lead to a brighter future if they're implemented. It may be cost, but it's worth it. So this was my conclusion now, okay, saying that showing the importance of what I've shared with everyone, okay. And thank you. And thank you. That's how you end your speech. So this marks the end of our lesson. Look out for this pamphlet with lots of examples where you can learn and steal the vocabulary and some skills with words. See you in the next lesson.